and put JCB TM Productivity to work on your farm for under $3,000 per month. To schedule your on-farm demo, call or visit SeaversJCB.com.
KL2IHD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. At the Trump criminal trial, the prosecution has now begun its closing arguments. Outside the courthouse this morning, the former president had this to say.
Make no mistake about it. I'm here because of crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. Is destroying our country. This country is being destroyed rapidly, not slowly, rapidly. On the borders, on energy, on inflation, on everything you can name.
The jury could begin deliberations on Wednesday. Also at townhall.com, Israel says an attack on Rafah that killed dozens of people was a mistake.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a tragic mistake was made in an Israeli strike in the southern Gaza city of Rafah that set fire to a camp housing displaced Palestinians and, according to local officials, killed at least 45 people. Netanyahu did not elaborate on the error. Israel's military had initially said it's carried out a precise airstrike on a Hamas compound, killing 2 senior militants. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Damaging winds and hail have pelted North Texas as much of the U.S. recovers from severe weather that killed at least 23 people during the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Son of Sam killer David Berkowitz has been denied parole for his 12th board appearance. He terrorized New York City with late-night shootings in the 70s that killed 6 people and wounded 7. Former General Hospital actor Johnny Wachter was shot and killed when he interrupted thieves stealing the catalytic converter from his car in Los Angeles. Police say that shooting occurred early Saturday morning. Stocks are mixed, the Dow dropping 300 points, but the NASDAQ is up 47. More at townhall.com.
Financial Group is not a law firm.
Everyone knows the old saying, nothing lasts forever. Well, whoever said that obviously never bought a timeshare. Not only do your maintenance fees and assessment fees go on forever, they go up forever. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Over 10 years ago, I was a timeshare salesman. But once I saw the dark side of the business, I quit. I started helping folks get out of their timeshares. Since then, we've helped over 30,000 families by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-213-5757. 800-213-5757.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Nice, warm, breezy day today. Plenty of sunshine. Now, there is a chance, like yesterday, that we could see an isolated little pocket of showers or thunderstorms rolling in from the northwest to the southeast that could bring some areas a brief downpour and maybe a little lightning before moving on. But again, it looks mainly dry. Wednesday and Thursday looking mainly dry, too, with high temperatures near 80 degrees. We start to get back into some significant rain chances Friday through the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert Meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Always be clear where you get your conservative talk.
The St. Louis Business Journal is now reporting that liberal billionaire George Soros is the largest shareholder of Odyssey,
the parent company of KMOX and 97.1 Talk. Soros' maneuver raises critical questions about the future of media ownership and influence.
Money and attention is power. And when he has the money and he controls what's on the radio stations, he's going to be able to control the minds, potentially hundreds of millions of Americans.
St. Louis's trusted source and number one
for conservative talk.
This is News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Dr. Carol Swain.
I had heard of Claudine Gay. During my final years at Princeton, I heard all about this brilliant Black student at Harvard. But I did not know that the brilliant Black student at Harvard was using my work for her dissertation. I have a year that I can pursue legal remedies.
Good.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. This hour of Colombo and Katie brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com. Tony Colombo.
Libertarianism is all about individual liberty.
Katie Fitzpatrick.
Oh, good for you.
Colombo and Katie on News Talk STL.
Time to rise has been engaged with better best to rearrange. I'm talking here to me alone. I listen to the finest work song, the finest hour, the finest hour.
Hello and welcome to Tuesday afternoon on Colombo and Katie on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. I have to remember and focus on saying Tuesday today and not Monday. Hope you had a great holiday weekend, and we are happy to be back here in studio. I'm Tony Colombo. That's my partner, Katie Fitzpatrick. And we got a lot to talk about and a great show for you. How was your holiday weekend?
It was great. It was really great. It's funny though, because by Monday, like yesterday, I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back to work. And I don't know how many other people could probably say something like that. But by yesterday, I'm like, oh my God, this was such a nice long break. I had a great time. We cooked, we cleaned, we went outside a lot. We enjoyed ourselves. But I was like, oh, okay. Like this morning, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go back to work. I could do that.
You get that way often when you have a vacation or any time away. Do you get like, okay, I'm ready to get back to my normal routine?
I am not someone, since becoming an adult, I am not someone that likes to take long vacations. I am a week at most. And then after like day 6 or day 7, I'm like, I need to get back to my routine. And I don't know when that happened or why it happened, but now that's just who I am now. I'm like, I do like routine. I really love routine.
It's got to be a really unbelievable like vacation for me to, after about 4 or 5 days tops, not say this has been great, but I'm ready to go home.
David?
And I love it. I love to travel and I love to go on vacation and do that sort of stuff. But it just, after several days, you're kind of like, you know what? It's a great experience. Now, sometimes you're in that perfect vacation does exist where
for sure
you don't want to leave.
Oh, absolutely.
But
I'm ready to experience that with kids. I think that there is a perfect vacation out there with kids and with your littles.
Yeah, it's called Disney World.
I'm sure Disney is one of the top. David is someone that can go on vacation for months. David, I have learned through the years and years of us being together, there is no time limit for David. David's like, I could be on vacation. Can I get a job where I'm unlimiting? Like there's unlimitless vacations. I'm like, wait, the dude could just go.
That's fantastic.
Doesn't end for him.
So it's unofficially the first day of summer. A lot of people say that Memorial Day is sort of the official kickoff of the summer season, although it doesn't technically become summer until like June 20th or June 21st, something like that. And I think that the first day of summer is the last day of these headphones because I cannot hear anything.
Oh, no.
But we'll get it fixed. No, you're totally fine. A couple of quick things, over the weekend, a couple of interesting local tidbits here. First, the National Weather Service has confirmed as of this morning that there were 5 tornadoes that touched down in the St. Louis area in Sunday's storms.
Oh my goodness.
We talked about this with Steve. I can't remember if it's this past weekend or the weekend before, but I think it was Friday. I think it was going into this weekend because he was talking about how, Sunday there was potential for some of this violent weather. And I asked him about how many storms we've had this year and, sort of rain levels, water levels and storms. Cause it seems like last year, if you remember, we went through a spring of no rain, which is crazy for St. Louis. Usually we get tons of rain in every spring. But this year, it seems like not only have we gotten rain, but every time it rains, it's a severe, it's violent weather. It's a severe storm.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him saying that as far as rain or just water levels are concerned, rain levels are concerned, nothing out of the ordinary this year. But he did say it's out of the what is out of the ordinary is the severity and specifically how many tornadoes we've already had.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 5 on Sunday. So the National Weather Service has confirmed tornadoes in or near the following locations in the St. Louis area on Sunday: Oakville in Missouri, New Baden, Illinois, north of Carlisle, Illinois, north of Luca, Illinois, and north of Forbes Lake, Illinois. Man, sorry, Illinois.
Man.
Yeah. 2 of those in Clinton County, 1 in and 2 of those in Marion. And then, of course, Oakville in St. Louis County.
We have had such a crazy season of weather.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a very mild winter, an incredibly mild winter, really. No snow, no ice. I mean, it was pretty rare. Spring was also not that bad. I mean, allergies and such, but like weather-wise, not that bad. The last 2 months have been chaos.
I know. It's crazy. And, we keep hearing stories and from people and we've all suffered this at some level or the other of roof damage, siding damage, window damage, all of that stuff. And then it's like, if you do get it fixed, it seems like it's a week later, here we go again with all the severe weather.
Good time to be someone at Gutter Pros.
Yeah, it was beautiful. You got that right. Call Gutter Pros if you have any issues with your siding, your gutters, or anything else up there. And yeah, there's plenty of. I don't want to start naming names and forget somebody, but we've got you covered if you need any help in any of those areas for sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. It was a beautiful Saturday and a pretty good Monday as well, but Sunday was pretty rough. And 5 official tornadoes touched down in the St. Louis area. Also, another quick little tidbit here before we dive into some of the heavy headlines. A junior at Liberty High School in Wentzville just got a perfect score on the ACT test.
Whoa.
Let's go.
That's incredible.
Pranad Bala, I hope I'm saying that right.
Go ahead, Pranad.
A junior.
Wow.
He's got another year to go. Earned a 36 on the ACT. So that's fantastic. Local kid getting a perfect score.
That's amazing.
On the ACT test. I like reporting good news, especially good local news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not the tornadoes. Those weren't good news, but a perfect score on the ACT. That's good news. All right, we are going to talk to Sheriff Dave Marshak today. He is joining us back on the show. He will be with us in about 45 minutes at 3:00. And since it is Tuesday, not Monday, we'll be talking to Crane Durham from nothingbutTruth.com in just a moment. I wanted to talk about this story first, and we may bleed this into the conversation with Crane Durham, but I think that it is sometimes a common mistake that people make about Memorial Day, like confusing it with Veterans Day, that they will think that Memorial Day is to remember all servicemen and women. Memorial Day is specifically to honor the servicemen and women that died serving their country. It is specifically for those that lost their life.
In memory.
And yes, it is a memory of those servicemen and women that lost their life. I can understand it when somebody, if I'm, a kid, right, if I hear like my daughter's friends little talking or whatever, if they trip it up, if they don't understand, and you sort of
Sure.
explain like, no, that's Veterans Day. If you're thanking all people who served, Memorial Day is different. I don't understand when United States Congress people make that mistake. And we saw, did you see this?
Oh, I saw.
And that's exactly what happened here in St. Louis with Cori Bush yesterday. She's not the only one. Ilhan Omar, fellow squad member, both appeared to mix up Memorial Day with Veterans Day and now deleted posts on Twitter. Yesterday morning, the two squad members posted similar messages for the federal holiday dedicated to honoring and mourning U.S. military personnel who died in service to their country. Congresswoman Omar's post said, quote, "On Memorial Day, we honor the heroic men and women who served our country. We owe them more than our gratitude. They have more than earned access to quality mental health services, job opportunities, housing assistance, and the benefits they were promised." Cori Bush's post read similarly, quote, "This Memorial Day and every day, we honor our veterans in St. Louis. We must invest in universal health care, affordable housing." Yeah. You seeing any similarities? "Comprehensive mental health services and educational and economic opportunities for our veterans as we work to build a world free of war and violence." Both tweets obviously trying to use the holiday to push an agenda. I mean, both of them, as we celebrate veterans on Memorial Day, we need to give them mental health, access to quality mental health services and affordable housing. Again, Memorial Day is to honor those that lost their lives. So saying that they need affordable housing and economic opportunities clearly shows that you don't understand.
You don't understand
what the day is about.
You don't understand. And this is the point. This is the part where the staffers need to read over some of the content.
Yeah, it's funny. I wrote in my own little notes here about the story. I wrote, do they have a staff? Is the staff as clueless as they are? Like,
where is the staff?
Where's the staff?
Read over the text.
My fear is that they did.
Oh, gosh.
And the staff doesn't even know.
Okay, so even outside of her getting this completely wrong, and to me, it shows, I feel like, the lack of investment into our military that she's already had.
Yeah.
I also do not like, I actually hate when either political party or anyone on any side of the aisle take a day like Memorial Day and twist it into a political ideology battle.
Mm-hmm.
Allow the day to be in remembrance. Allow Veterans Day to be honoring and celebrating our veterans. Allow Labor Day. These days mean something. And that's why they're federal holidays. Let them be what they are and give the thanks or give them remembering and give the honor to the people that we need to. Stop twisting it into what you want it to be to fit your agenda.
It was so clearly just an opportunity to use buzzwords and try to act like you're showing gratitude for the military to just spew out all, your entire political agenda.
Can we circle back to your point too of saying if this was one of Maggie's friends at 13 years old, I would correct it. But there is something, as you just said, there is something to be said about a United States Congresswoman.
It's unforgivable. It's unforgivable coming from somebody who serves the country. in
a public service.
national. Yeah, I mean, it is just it's completely unacceptable. I mean, and when you look at both of them, Cori Bush's tweet, the first sentence, quote, "This Memorial Day and every day, we honor our veterans in St. Louis." The rest of the tweet is just about politics.
Oh, everything.
2/3 of both of their tweets is just about politics and policy and their agenda. There's just one sentence at the beginning of each of them that tries to vaguely, loosely attach it to the fact that it's Memorial Day. Incorrectly attach it to Memorial Day because they don't know what they're talking about. Cori Bush, after getting roasted, deleted the original post and replaced
That's
it
bad.
with another tweet that said, quote,
Oopsie.
"This Memorial Day, we honor those who served and lost their lives for our
boy.
country. And we hold in our hearts the loved ones they left behind. We must continue to push to protect our service members while working to build a world free of war and violence," which gave her much less of an opportunity to put it in politics.
Do we live in a world now where nothing politics can't? Do we live in a world now where politics has to be a part of every single discussion?
Yes.
And I know that kind of seems backwards for what we do as for a living, but I read this tweet, I think about Memorial Day that just happened yesterday, and I think to myself, 15 years ago, were people making political declarations on days like these just to espouse their agenda? And why is it that happening now?
You know, maybe not, but maybe only because they didn't have the same ability to blast out their message to the entire. What? My headphones came back on for like 2 seconds there. It
Hi.
scared me. Who's just yelling at me? 15 years ago, 20 years ago, they didn't have the ability. You'd have to like hold a press conference and go on television to
Get your
say
message
something.
out.
Yeah, to say something like that. I mean, you could put out a statement, a press release, but who's going to see that?
Yeah. Who cares enough?
But
to see
now with social media and that you can just in an instant type up something that goes to, I mean, if you're a politician, you know, thousands, if not millions of people in just the snap of a finger. So I don't know that it was better because we were better or the politicians were better or the system was better.
Or we just didn't have that kind of access.
I just think they didn't have the same. I think that they would have back then
done the same thing.
I think politicians gonna politician
Mm.
no matter what.
No
And
matter
they
what
just
day
didn't
it
have
is.
they just didn't have that. They just didn't have that access like they do now. And yeah, never let a holiday, a story, a tragedy, whatever it is, go to waste. They always try to attach their message onto it.
Mm.
And I'm glad it backfired. I'm
Me
glad
too.
they got roasted. They're both gone now, so you can't go back and read all of the comments.
But I'm sure they got annihilated.
Oh, but some of the screenshots that are out there are pretty good.
They remain.
People just absolutely, which good for them, corrected and roasted Cori Bush and Ilhan Omar for clearly not understanding what they were talking about. All right, it being Tuesday means we're going to be joined by Crane Durham from nothingbutTruth.com. Speaking of bozos, Robert De Niro, did you see this? He's in New
Yes.
York, across the street from the courtroom, and there was like it was like branded as a Biden-Harris campaign event.
So De Niro is talking.
But neither Biden or Harris were there. They're campaign spokesperson was, and so was Robert De Niro, who said that if elected president, Donald Trump could destroy the world. Hyperbole. There's just no such thing anymore. Like, every statement means nothing. Now,
means nothing.
Nothing means anything anymore because we just say the most extreme possible thing that we can think of. De Niro says that Trump could destroy the world if elected president. We will talk about that and more when we're joined by Crane Durham next on Colombo and Katie.
You're listening to Colombo and Katie.
We'll teach Donald Trump a valuable lesson. Don't mess with the men in America unless you want to get the benefit.
News, analysis, opinion.
You know, they're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
So talking about all of those storms that hit over the weekend and all of the weather that we have seen, the severe weather that we have seen this spring so far in St. Louis may be causing damage up on your roof to your house. And if there's anything happening up there with your gutters or your siding, make sure that you call the Gutter Pros ASAP. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. I was actually on my roof yesterday doing some work. I was trimming back some branches because they were dangling precariously above the house. And that was how our original gutter issue happened at our home, when a big branch fell on our gutters and bent them. And then the Gutter Pros came out and took care of it. And it was an absolutely awesome experience. But it was the first time that I'd been up there in months. And I got a look at, up close and personal at just how much the work, the leaf protection and the gutters, all the work that the Gutter Pros did several months ago, and all of that severe storm, all that weather that we have seen here recently. And my gutters up there are just looking fantastic through it all. Just absolutely great work. Again, don't forget about siding as well. That's been a big issue for people with all the hail in the area recently. Gutter Pros can help you with that as well. So many different services that they can help you with: leaf protection, gutter repair, new gutter installation, siding, fascia, soffit. They do it all at Gutter Pros, and they offer free estimates. So if you have a problem with your gutters or your siding at your home or your business, or you just think there might be a problem, call the Gutter Pros, have them come out and take a look. They'll tell you exactly what's going on, and that costs you absolutely nothing. And then you have that peace of mind or the information that you need to move forward from there. Call the Gutter Pros now at 314-656-7195, or just go to gutterpros.com.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
When it's important to you,
I have it on all day at work.
it's on News Talk STL.
What is your message to Iran in this moment?
The world's leading terror sponsor launching its first direct military assault against Israel.
The administration has lost their capability to deter Iran.
News, analysis, opinion.
Trump faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Election interference, everybody knows it.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
This was supposed to be a peaceful demonstration.
Chaos erupts on the University of Texas.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
He asked me to pay off an adult film star.
There is an insufficient amount of evidence.
News Talk STL.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. If you are sick and tired of the corporate news bubble, if you like unedited information free from corporate money, if you want straight talk with no script, join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on The Rob Carter Show.
Live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe I'm going through a drought. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. These ones are going to be trouble too. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here in studio. Hope you had a awesome, enjoyable holiday weekend. Thanks for being back with us. It is not Monday, it is Tuesday, which means we now are going to be joined by the great Crane Durham from nothingbuttruth.com. And Crane, as the summer, at least unofficially, now begins in 2024, brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got a hug.
And we're running into that hug and doing a chest bump and turning around and saying, let's get it on.
And saying, what the heck is Robert De Niro doing here?
That is exactly right. So that's definitely where I wanted to start the conversation, Crane. I don't know if you saw this today, but Robert De Niro was outside of the courtroom there in New York City where Donald Trump is, and he was speaking at what was being billed as a campaign press conference for the Biden-Harris campaign, but neither Joe Biden or Kamala Harris were there. But Robert De Niro spoke along with some others involved with the campaign, and De Niro said today, quote, "I hope this new ad campaign reaches outside the bubble to remind supporters of what a danger he is," Trump, of course, "to our lives. This is not a threat. This is our reality. And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president." There's more, and we may break it apart as we go, but Crane, saying that Joe Biden is the one that will preserve our freedoms, I mean, really shows you just how out of touch old Robert De Niro is.
I wish Bobby would have said, hey, I believe in this so much, I'm willing to debate somebody or talk to somebody who doesn't share my view. Because the problem with a lot of these actors and singers is they say these things. They could be sports stars, LeBron James. It could be anybody, but they are never held to account. And to me, when he makes a statement like that, well, look at the Biden Justice Department under Merrick Garland, but then go back and look at Obama's with Eric Holder, his wingman. The bottom line is Donald Trump's policies made us more secure. He took out Soleimani. He acted in Syria. He mowed down those 400 Russians that were in that area. The fact is he got rid of ISIS. We didn't have to see the beheadings day in or week in and week out. We didn't have to deal with that. And if you look, he supplied arms to the Ukraine and fortified them for what they had to deal with, quite frankly, after President Biden opened up a huge vacuum and said, okay, Afghanistan, we're going to go ahead and withdraw. The way we withdrew, 13 Americans dead, And then you have a minor incursion comment at a press conference, and you have Russia attacking. Then he delays the shipments for the requested weaponry for Ukraine. And it's not as if he didn't give those, he just gave them 6 months later. And to me, he knows how to lose wars. I'll tell you, weakness is provocative. And don't even get me started on the border of what the signal he is sending to the world when it comes to the border, as well as to American citizens. Hey, Joe Biden does not respect you enough to secure this nation. To me, that is, hey, you're gone. You're fired.
You know, I look at some of these quotes, Crane, from Robert De Niro, one of them being, I love this city. I don't want to see it destroyed. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country. And eventually he could destroy the world. He says, I don't mean to scare you. Oh, no, wait. I do mean to scare you.
Oh.
If Trump returns to the office and he says he'll ruin democracy, basically. I read these quotes, Crane, because we talked about this a little bit on Friday. Maybe in 2016, people could have been behind that and believed that. But do you think right now, when they're living paycheck to paycheck and seeing everything else rise and inflation rise and not being able to pay these bills because of Bidenomics, do you think, Crane, people really feel that Donald Trump, if he were president, would destroy the world as we know it?
No, because they know differently. Donald Trump, was outrageous. He appointed 3 originalists to the court, and they actually followed the Constitution. And that's why we got the return of Roe v. Wade back to the states where it belongs, in the sense of that kind of discussion and debate. They allowed for the American people to have that now. So I look at what President Trump has done, and speaking to law and order, all right, we had those 2020 riots and a year full of those. And whenever Trump took action, when they were burning down a church, say, he was vilified, saying he's out of control. Yet you look at the treatment of the political enemies of Joe Biden, and for that matter, Obama, and you look at the situation with the IRS. You want to talk about abuse of power and destroying our great democracy, constitutional republic, democratic elements, both indirect and direct. No, Donald Trump made the world more secure. He made it more stable in the sense of economic growth because he trusted Americans to spend their own money. Wow. How about that? Didn't demonize the wealthy. That's a pretty good thing. And now we've got President Biden suggesting that we need a ceasefire in Israel as Israel is advancing, and others in the Democratic Party becoming propagandists for Hamas.
You know, that is one of the things that we need to call out. We need to call out anytime we catch politicians running for office on either side of the aisle when they're clearly lying. But one of the things that is going to be a very important thing to keep an eye on throughout this presidential election for the rest of the year is what is now clearly something this Biden campaign is going to highlight, and that is the idea of Donald Trump somehow taking away freedoms and taking away rights, when this administration has done more to advance government control, consolidate power, regulate, apply regulations to everything. If there's anybody that's taken away freedoms from the American people, it's the Biden administration. So I think, to your point, Crane, that is one of the things that really needs to be called out by the media and, people within the campaign, within the presidential campaign and other politicians, to not let them get away with such a patently false message. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with it. And it comes down to what Trump did to deregulate the economy, what we are seeing in the way of regulations, because they viewed politics as a religion, the Green New Deal, and what's happening to that money. Oh, it's going to terrorists too. just a note there about our liberties and referring the Justice Department getting a letter saying, hey, they're domestic terrorists in essence because you stand up at a school board meeting. This stuff is absolutely, you can document it and you can recall it and you can remind people of abuses of power. I don't trust Joe Biden and the Biden administration or the Democratic Party to secure my rights. And quite frankly, either do Americans, because their own personal security gets violated. He allows for these groups, by not calling them out and not demanding the enforcement of the rule of law, but somehow speaking in nebulous ways about their behavior. Me, I think Americans are tired of this. And after the pandemic, after what we saw with the regulations, quite frankly, not being based on science, we are PO'd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To steal one from Katie, we're PO'd off, and we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it anymore. And a lot of times you roll your eyes at any politician, particularly presidents. There's always like the first 100 days, or on day one, I'm going to do this. And most issues are a lot more complicated than what can be addressed in the first 100 days, or in that short of a period of time. But when it comes to the economy, especially the way it's been set up here recently, with all of these regulations simply being put in place by executive order, there really are some. It's not the flip of a switch. I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but there really are some very quick things that Donald Trump or somebody else that would do away with a lot of these regulations that would have a nearly immediate impact on a lot of areas, specifically when it comes to the economy. So, I mean, that is just one thing that is going to play, I think, a huge role in this upcoming election. Crane, I wanted to ask you about the what could happen now that we're talking about Robert De Niro being there at court. I think he's there, and the spotlight's going to be more intense there in New York over the next couple of days, because it's about to come to an end. The closing arguments started today. What are you expecting as far as what comes next? The sentencing of Donald Trump, and what kind of impact that could have on his campaign?
Well, I look at this as a farce. I think the more people are exposed to it, the more they relate to Donald Trump. And look at a government targeting a political opponent. When you don't have a case, and then your excuse is, well, this is the state bringing the case, so we don't have Biden's hands on this. The Democratic Party is unified in its desire to go after Donald Trump and ruin him. They don't want to just defeat him. They want him in jail. And they're willing to stretch the law and play games with the law to manipulate that outcome. And in America, we have kind of a knee-jerk reaction, and I'm a blessed knee-jerk reaction to the power of government going after an individual and using that power to take away their freedoms. We do not like it. And any sense of it, we look at and we say, why is the government trying to bully a person who is running for office because they can't beat him at the ballot box? So what they're going to do, they're going to try to in the courtroom.
I think a lot of people are expecting, Donald Trump to be found guilty on, if not all, many of the charges. And it's going to be really interesting to see how heavy-handed that the sentencing is for that, because, man, if you ever need an example of the two-tier justice system in full swing, it could be on display at the highest level ever this week. I want to get into some of the possibilities of that sentencing. Also want to talk about a brand new report from Politico that is out that shows the Democrats behind the scenes are privately concerned that the Biden campaign is doomed, and are even worried about many blue states turning red in the 2024 election. A lot of these members of the Democratic Party spoke to Politico anonymously because they don't want to be that guy. That's literally what one of the people says. One of the quotes is, nobody wants to be that guy. That's, that's telling the truth publicly. So I want to dig into that report as we continue our conversation with Crane Durham from nothingbutTruth.com next on Colombo and Katie.
Stream Colombo and Katie at newstalkstl.com.
You can turn me on with just a touch, baby.
Follow us on Rumble at newstalkstl.
It is cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're on my side.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic rights and duty.
The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Caring for a loved one is stressful. It's an emotional time, and we want our loved ones to get the quality of care they deserve. But the cost of long-term care is expensive. In the St. Louis area, it could be $60,000, $70,000, or even over $100,000. Can your savings handle this added expense? Fortunately, News Talk STL listeners have an expert right here. Financial strategist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management shows families tax-efficient strategies to fund care needs. Whether planning in advance, have health concerns, or living in a care community today, solutions exist to fund the quality of care you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Visit SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Are you even thinking about getting new windows? Tim Jones here to tell you need to call Window World. They're simply the best for less. 314-993-1800. One of only 2 window companies in the country that carry the coveted Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Carrying a lifetime warranty covering all parts, glass breakage, and labor. Incredibly durable, incredibly beautiful, incredibly thermally efficient. For the first time ever, Window World offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Any questions? Free in-home estimate. 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800. WindowWorld.com. WindowWorld.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Colombo and Katie brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Bigger, it's bigger than you, and you are not me. The links that I will go to, the distance in your eyes.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 News Talk STL. I want to remind you that we are going to be talking to the Sheriff of Jefferson County, Sheriff Dave Marshak, who is a regular on the show, and we had already had this afternoon's interview booked a week ago. And then today there is a terrible tragedy that has hit Jefferson County with the death of at least 2 children. And we will get the latest on that situation when we talk to Sheriff Marshak in just about 15 minutes from now, just after 3 o'clock. Okay, continuing our conversation now with Crane Durham from nothingbutTruth.com. And Crane, just to wrap up kind of what to expect this week. I'm not sure anybody can predict what's going to happen except for predicting that Trump will most likely be found guilty on at least some, if not all, of the charges. There's a small chance, there is a possibility that he could be given prison time, although nobody is expecting that. But what do you think that this judge, this sentencing could be much like this court case is in general, an opportunity for a rogue judge in New York to try to do everything they can to hinder the Trump's ability to campaign, at least in the near future, for the next couple months, with some kind of probation and sentencing or something at their disposal?
I think that if you look at a legal strategy, that's what we're seeing. He doesn't also get the time back that he lost to campaign, but he's made he's made lemonade out of lemons because he does go and speak, and be it the Bronx and Catherine Hochul, Governor Hochul making the deplorables comment, or excuse me, clowns, but like the basket of deplorables with one Hillary Clinton. I think he is showing people, hey, I'm going to talk to each and every one of you. And there's a bubble around this president, not only because he can't speak to others and remember what he said, but also the fact that he doesn't understand what happens when you walk into a grocery store and you feel like you're getting charged an entrance fee because prices have gone up so much. So he has the opportunity to continue to connect to the rest of America that's not in this elite bubble that we see. And De Niro's that's icing on the cake. I mean, if you want to talk about somebody who's not going to be in touch with the average American, boom, there it is.
We didn't get a chance. We haven't had a chance to talk to you since that rally in the Bronx last week, where they were expecting 3,000 people, and over 25,000 people showed up in deep, dark blue New York City for a Donald Trump rally, which is interesting because going back to Robert De Niro's statement earlier today, there, in front of the courtroom, he said, quote, "I owe this city a lot. And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street, because he doesn't belong in my city. I don't know where he belongs, but he certainly doesn't belong here. We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot." I mean, our eyes tell a different story, Robert De Niro. 25,000 people showed up to a rally in the Bronx for Donald Trump. So I'm not sure that he doesn't belong in your city. That was a pretty amazing, I mean, even for Donald Trump, that type of turnout, that type of support was pretty amazing. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, it goes back to something I've recently seen where a boxer talks about Robert De Niro and how he didn't know how to box. He didn't know how to fight.
Right.
And I think masquerading as a tough guy that's his brand.
No
I think
kidding.
He's a very good actor, but you do see this, and you also see that hint of elitism to say, hey, guess what? He is too dangerous, but we have a out of control crime problem where people are literally dying or being set on fire in the city. And we have the Democratic Party who's welcomed in no cash bail. I don't think Donald Trump's the threat. I think he's the solution.
So I want to move on to this report out today from Politico. Democrats privately concerned Biden campaign is doomed to fail and worry that Donald Trump may even win blue states in the coming election. So the article goes on and on with various quotes from different people within the Democratic Party and even people within the White House and Biden staff, mostly speaking anonymously. They make reference to the polling numbers and how that's contributed to, quote, the freak out among Biden supporters, specifically recent polls that show that Donald Trump is leading Biden in many key swing states coming up. And they all speak to the fact that this is a common feeling throughout the Democratic Party. Do you believe that behind the scenes, they're panicking in the Democratic Party right now, and just in what we see on television and social media is them putting on the proverbial brave face?
What I love about you and Katie and your show is you brought us examples of Democrats freaking out about this, as well as people who are traditionally liberal in the sense of leftists coming to the conclusion, wait a second, something's gone wrong here. Something seriously has gone wrong. Bill Maher, for example. So James Carville, you brought to life, and he's been, the Raging Cajun's been going nuts. So it's, to me, you've got a small bubble around the president that is not only controlling policy, but afraid to tell him, hey, you don't have any clothes on, Mr. Biden.
Yeah.
And that's what people are seeing. Because, again, you're bringing out De Niro at the trial. What's going on here? When you compare that to what we saw and the interviews in the Bronx and the speech that he gave, which was fairly boilerplate and good, and what he did at the Libertarian Convention. I mean, this guy is on fire right now. His campaign is hitting on all cylinders, despite the fact of this trial.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Crane, thank you.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you for bringing up James Carville, because it took all the restraint that I had to not bring it up myself. I was trying to save the eye roll from Katie, so thank you for doing it for me. Unfortunately, my friend, we are just about out of time. Of course, you can hear Crane every Tuesday afternoon with us here on Colombo and Katie, but always at nothingbutTruth.com and the Nothing But Truth Facebook page and podcast. Remind folks how they can find all of that great stuff.
And Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth on Facebook, at the website and Instagram. Things are heated up. I'm doing more videos than ever, pretty much one every day, talking about the issues and doing some analysis on the news show. So if you want to know the truth, continue to listen to Colombo and Katie and News Talk STL, but also go to Crane Durham's NothingButTruth.com.
Get that beautiful face in front of the camera as much as you can. A video a day is fantastic.
I love you, buddy.
Back at you. That is the great.
You're beautiful. You are beautiful to me.
Yeah, you will always be beautiful to me. Crane Durham from nothingbutTruth.com and the Nothing But Truth Facebook page. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right. As I mentioned, a terrible tragedy coming out of Jefferson County today involving the death of 2 young children. We will get the latest on that situation and talk about some other law enforcement issues facing our area when we talk to Jefferson County Sheriff Dave Marshak next.
That's me in the spot. Always be clear where you get your conservative talk.
Our left groups who are paying for and likely stoking these campus protests today.
At least 1.3 million came from 2 liberal foundations, the Rockefeller Brothers and George Soros.
Liberal billionaire George Soros is the largest shareholder of Odyssey,
the parent company of KMOX and 97.1 Talk.
And when he has controls what's on the radio stations, he's going to be able to control the mind, potentially hundreds of millions of Americans.
St. Louis's trusted source and number one
for conservative talk.
This is News Talk STL.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
When it's important to you,
I have it on all day at work.
it's on News Talk STL.
What is your message to Iran in this moment?
The world's leading terror sponsor launching its first direct military assault against Israel.
The administration has lost their capability to deter Iran.
News, analysis, opinion.
Trump faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Election interference, everybody knows it.
1019 and 94.1. News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The Biden campaign showed up outside Donald Trump's criminal trial in New York on the day of closing arguments. White House correspondent Greg Clugston with that report.
Joe Biden's campaign team has largely ignored the trial, but that changed on Tuesday when the president's team showed up near the Lower Manhattan courthouse with actor Robert De Niro and a pair of former police officers. A top Biden advisor said they weren't there to talk about the trial, rather to exploit the large media focus on the legal proceedings. But Trump advisors argued that the appearance shows that Trump's prosecutions are being driven by politics. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Also at townhall.com, hundreds walk out of the Harvard College graduation. In an AP interview, Harvard graduate Allah Nassari says the students were protesting in part because 13 students who took part in a protest encampment were not included in the graduation ceremony.
A bunch of students got up and walked out in protest of the university refusing to disclose and divest from the Israeli regime, and also because they're refusing to let 13 Harvard students graduate.
Meanwhile, a pro-Palestinian demonstration at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor was broken up by police. Police also cracked down on a demonstration at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. French President Macron says he will meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, along with other world leaders, in Normandy for the 80th anniversary commemoration on D-Day. President Biden also scheduled to attend this year's commemorations. On Wall Street, a mixed close, the Dow off 216 points, but the NASDAQ gained 99. More at townhall.com.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Very slim chance for a spot shower early this evening, mainly north. And then we'll be dry overnight with low 57 degrees. Nice start to the day and a nice day with lots of sunshine and 78. A dry Wednesday. Dry again Thursday with more sunshine and a high of 80. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Fox News commentary.
Hillary Clinton is still blaming everyone but herself for losing to Trump. Which group is feeling her wrath this time? I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Something amazing is happening at work. Innovative tools are helping people do better work. That's because CDW configuration specialists are multiplying productivity with Microsoft Windows 11 Pro Surface devices. Built-in security, flexibility, and simplified management streamline tasks so your team can get more done. Microsoft and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/surface.
headline in its 8th year now, Hillary Clinton blames everyone but herself for losing to Trump in 2016. In fact, if you Google Hillary blames, the search results are literally endless. But in this most recent case, Hillary told the New York Times she blames, drumroll please, women. Yes, she said that after then FBI Director James Comey reopened the investigation into her private email server, women voters weren't willing to take a risk on her because she, as a woman, is expected to be perfect. She went on to say that voters are willing to take a risk on imperfect Trump because he is a man. This song and dance is so old and tired, kind of like Hillary herself. Hillary, you lost because we don't trust you and we don't like you. And guess what? We wanted Trump and we still want Donald Trump. Get over it and get over yourself already. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
President Biden just announcing a marked policy shift.
I've made it clear to BB and the War Cabinet they're not going to get our support if, in fact, they go on these population centers.
Didn't they impeach the last guy over this?
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Could you whisper in my ear the things you want to feel? I'll give you anything to feel it coming. Do you wake up on your own? I wonder where you are. Live with all your faults. I want to wake up where you are.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Thanks again to Crane Durham for spending most of that 2 o'clock hour with us. Great conversation with him. As always, if you missed any of it or just want to make sure that you don't miss anything that happens here on the show, make sure you're subscribed to the Colombo and Katie podcast. We put this show out as a podcast every day right after we get off the air on basically every podcast platform. So wherever your favorite place to get podcasts is, make sure you're subscribed to Colombo and Katie. All right. As I mentioned, joining us back on the line now is the Sheriff of Jefferson County, Sheriff Dave Marshak. And Sheriff is a regular on this show. And we actually had this interview booked over a week ago. And who could have predicted that this all happens now on a day that tragedy has struck your community, Sheriff. So thank you so much for being here on what has turned into such a terrible day. And if you can give us an update on this situation.
Yeah. What an unfortunate day for our community, and certainly our thoughts and prayers with the family, and then also our first responders who responded to this incident. In short, around 10:30 this morning, a female entered the Festus Police Department and shared with officers there that she had shot one of her children and drowned the other. She was wet, had wet clothing, and officers frantically both attempted to interview her at the same time as other officers ran out to the vehicle. Located a child and attempted life-saving measures. While the other officers were trying to gather additional information, they notified the sheriff's office because they believe the other venue in which the child was drowned was possibly in Jefferson County unincorporated venue. And so we immediately sent officers there. So as you can imagine, it was a little chaotic at first. Our officers arrived on the scene at Timber Creek Resort in Festus. Located a small child in a waterway and immediately also attempted life-saving measures. In both of those situations, the officers were unsuccessful. And so we have a small child that died as a result of a gunshot wound here at Festus, and then in unincorporated Jefferson County in rural Festus, another child that was recovered, suspected to be of drowning as well. The female is in our custody right now, is being interviewed by investigators. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of different things going on. We have multiple crime scenes. Investigators are actively working to kind of create a backward timeline on where these incidents has happened and what led up to certainly this tragic event.
Just unbelievable.
It's terrible.
Unspeakable tragedy. And Sheriff, I saw in one of your earlier statements today that there was a possibility of there being another victim possibly in the community. Have you guys determined whether or not that all the information is in as far as who's been hurt, or is there still a possibility of learning more?
So right now we know we have the two deceased children. As part of the investigation, we wanted to make sure everybody in the family was accounted for. And we believe we've done that. There was some legitimate concern early on that a third child was unaccounted for, and that was a concern for law enforcement. We have since verified that child is okay, and it was actually not the maternal child of the suspect, but actually a niece. And so they have cooperated with law enforcement. We verified their well-being. From right now, there's a lot of investigation that needs to happen to figure things out because we're not 100% sure on all the crime scenes where these incidents took place. Based on the initial investigation, we do not believe the child was shot here at the police station, that the child had been shot and then transported here. And so we've got a lot of legwork to do, but we've got a lot of resources allocated on that. And then we have the officers who attempted life-saving measures. We dispatched our crisis response team for their well-being as well. As you know, mental health of police officers and our first responders has to be of critical importance as well. So they've had a tough day.
Yeah, I didn't even want to. That's why I let you explain the situation. It's hard to even say the words as a parent, and as when this type of tragedy happens. Sheriff, as you said, still a lot of work to do. Still, obviously, a lot of questions to be answered. So, moving forward, where can people get get all of the latest information as you are able to release it? I always think that that's important to know where to go to get that, because some, stories can get changed or rumors can get started. So where's the best place to keep up with all the truth surrounding this case?
So right now we have a scheduled press release at 4:00 where we plan to share more information. As you know, things can change quickly, and information changes quickly, and bad information travels even faster. So for us, we plan to have a scheduled press release at 4:00 here at the city of Festus. We hope to have information related to the victims, if possible, and because I know that's a concern to the community. And, the city of Festus is a small community. It's a little over 11,000 people. It's a tight community. And I think there's going to be some relevance to the suspect being here in this community. And I think the community wants some information. So we're going to do our best to share that information at 4:00, but we will continue to update everybody, as I know there's a lot of concern about this investigation and what led up to this tragedy. So we hope to share as much as possible.
Thank you for all of that information. And one more recent incident that I wanted to touch on before we moved on to other things is late last week, we had reported on, and you had sent us some information at the time, the latest information about the police chase that started in the city of St. Louis and ended up in your community in Jefferson County, and also ended up with a shots exchanged between police officers and the suspect. Can you give us any additional information and just if whether or not that case has been if all the details are in and what the information about that situation was?
No, look, what happens is in these types of cases, we get the information out and everybody wants to know what's going on very quickly. We try to educate everybody and be as transparent as possible, but the investigations will take quite some time. As a matter of fact, at our headquarters this morning, we had St. Louis Metropolitan Police officers at our office to be interviewed, and so that investigation continues as well. And as soon as I left the office, this unfolded. So, multiple investigations. These things are going to take some time, and of course, our investigators are going to be writing and preparing search warrants for the prosecuting attorney's office. There's all kinds of data that we need both from that investigation and this investigation. And it takes some time to go through. Think about how much technology is just in your cell phone, and we'll talk about digital evidence from cameras and your vehicle and phones. There's a lot out there, and so these things are a process, and it takes a long time, to review. So both incidents continue to be under investigation and will be for quite some time.
Gosh, it's a lot going on in Jefferson County. It's not our normal.
We like it quiet.
Yeah, I know. It's not our normal
we prefer
conversation. Certainly.
We prefer.
Yeah, but we really appreciate it.
In 2023, we were bragging that Jefferson County had the lowest homicide rate per capita in the entire St. Louis region.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, here we are. We've had a couple of different incidences just in the last week. But we continue to remind people, especially in our community, that Jefferson County continues to be a safe place where we invest in law enforcement and we invest in technology to make sure our community is safe.
Well, the car chase one, it was an example of the city issues bleeding into Jefferson County, and that is something that that St. Charles County and St. Louis County sometimes is much to blame as the city, and but these issues that when we have a problem in the city of St. Louis, it affects the entire region, and that's kind of where I wanted to. It was the original purpose of this conversation that I wanted to have. Another example of that that sort of sprung this idea in my mind was a headline out today about a major grocery chain in Washington, D.C. no longer allowing people to bring in big bags or women to bring in big purses when they're shopping because it's their way of trying to limit crime. And this actually happened to me last week. I never even considered this, but I carry a little Adidas bag with me everywhere I go, and that's where I keep everything. And my wife refers to it as my dad bag. And I was checking out at a local store and was told by the clerk, "Hey, by the way, next time you come in here, you can't have that bag with you." And I thought this is another example of stores and citizens having to adjust themselves and be the ones that are punished or impacted by the fact that so many areas, including the city of St. Louis, in my opinion, have gone soft on crime. And we're no longer punishing the criminals or going after the criminals. We're telling people to adjust their behavior. How dangerous is that going forward? And how important is that conversation in this election year, Sheriff?
So, a couple different things. Let's make no mistake, right? From a historical perspective, I've given St. Louis City leadership a rough way to go, but I think they've made some significant progress. They've got a prosecutor down there, circuit attorney's office, who is now charging cases. You've got a law enforcement leader that is legitimately trying to do some things to get things done. I saw Chief Tracy on Sunday at a social event, and always a little ribbing among law enforcement leaders, but I have to tell you, I have to accept responsibility that the officer-involved shooting that brought St. Louis City officers down here, the suspect was well known to our community and was committing crimes both in Jefferson County and St. Louis City. So we have to own part of that. But look, when you have leadership that doesn't support law enforcement, the impact is going to continue for some time. And we've seen what those policies in St. Louis City have done to our region, and they've carried over into the surrounding collar counties. And so for us, we're excited about some of the changes that they make, and we're excited about some of the partnerships that are out there. Look, Jefferson County, along with St. Charles County and Franklin County, we all play a role in the safety of the St. Louis region. And so I'm excited about the opportunity for everybody to work together, because even your strong Democrats have recognized you can't allow criminals to run free.
And it really is a fallout and a reaction or a result of, I should say, of the defund the police movement that gained
100%.
so much. And now, Sheriff, are we not paying the price? Even if we are, hopefully and thankfully, waking up, if people even that did support that idea a couple of years ago are waking up and changing their minds, is this the fallout? Is this the result of that we're paying for that?
You used the perfect word, the fallout, and because I've compared it like, you have a nuclear bomb goes off and then the fallout kills another, section of the community. And what happened with the defund police movement is you saw the immediate impact, and then you're still dealing with the fallout and the repercussions from such policies and the rhetoric that the police are the bad. What they've done is they've demonized police, and they've created this narrative, a false narrative at that the police are the oppressors, and nothing could be further from the truth. And in doing so, they've created an environment in which a younger generation doesn't feel like they need to provide service to a community. And so we continue to look for those people who are interested in serving their community, because that's what public safety is. It's serving. And I think we've lost some of that. So we continue to encourage those type of people to take the leap and get into public safety, because certainly we recognize from incidents like today that they're needed. And that's from fire, EMS, police, or dispatchers, everybody.
And Sheriff, I would imagine that it's just as frustrating to police officers when these policies that, and all of these stories, I'm reminded of stories of like, telling citizens to leave your cars unlocked so the criminals don't have to break your windows, or leave your front door unlocked, so they don't have to kick your door down. People are sick of it. And I would imagine that police officers are also just as frustrated when your hands are tied and you're not able to serve the community.
Yeah, listen, we're lucky in Jefferson County because we have a prosecuting attorney here that takes that seriously. We all live in this community, and for us, it's important to hold the bad people accountable. And I'm surprised some communities didn't take it more seriously over the last 10 years. It's a little frustrating at times.
Sheriff, unfortunately, we are just about out of time, but you are also involved in your own campaign there in Jefferson County. How can people keep up with everything if they want to learn more about you and your campaign and keep up with everything that you're working on? What are the best ways?
Hey, I'm always try to stay abreast on Twitter. So at Sheriff Marshak, both on Facebook and Twitter. And again, you'll continue to hear from us, not only from the political perspective, but also things that are going on in Jefferson County. I always appreciate the time and opportunity to be with you guys. You have a great program there. I fully support it, and I hope you continue in success.
Well, thank you very much, and we look forward to talking to you again soon, hopefully under better circumstances. And thank you for making some time for us today on such a
have a good day.
Busy day there in Jeff County. Thank you, Sheriff. That is Sheriff Dave Marshak from Jefferson County, and certainly appreciate the latest update on everything happening there, specifically with the terrible tragedy that hit that community earlier.
God bless our law enforcement. Man. Seriously, that is the hardest job in the world. I can't even fathom.
I mentioned it in the conversation with Sheriff there. I didn't even want to read. I let him explain the entire situation. I don't even want to read those words. And I know, Katie, you're the same way, if not even, maybe even worse. Like,
I can't live in that reality.
I wasn't even going to ask you to talk about that, because it's just
too hard.
It's just such an unbelievable mindset for anybody to try to wrap your head around, especially if you're a parent. Just how. Oof, you're right. God bless the police officers and the first responders that have to deal with that. And it's important to hear and good to hear the sheriff say that that they offer counseling to those members of law enforcement that have to deal with that, because I can't imagine what that the impact that has on somebody. All right, we are going to continue on here. There is a new opinion piece that was put on Fox on their website today, Fox News website today. It's kind of fun. 5 crazy ways President Joe Biden is ruining America's summer fun.
All right.
I will explain those and we'll see if we agree or disagree with this assessment next on Colombo and Katie.
Put your arms around me. What you feel is what you are. What you are is beautiful.
Stream Colombo and Katie at newstalkstl.com.
I can go on, but I'm not. I'm going off script and I get in trouble.
Number one for live and local conservative talk. News Talk STL.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Just spoke with someone over the weekend who is thinking about selling their home and was reminded that even after the last couple of years since we went through selling our home and buying a new home for our family, how much it is still very much a seller's market, how the market is still on your side in a big way if you are looking to sell your home. But with all these changes and all these other things happening, you never know how long that window is going to stay open. So if this is something you're thinking about, do not wait. Call St. Louis's #1 home selling team ASAP. And that, of course, is the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Wallners are licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, the Wallners can help you just like they helped us. They were fantastic in not only selling our home as quickly and for more than we even imagined, which put us in a great position moving forward, trying to sell or trying to buy a new home. But yeah, they gave us not only the advantage, but also were instrumental in finding us our new home. The Wallners were just absolutely incredible to work with. Of course, you know, the stats back it up. They're selling 15 times more homes per year than your typical home seller. They have so many qualified buyers right now that they guarantee to get you an offer. And when you work with the Wallners, you see why they have those stats, because they have the experience and the work ethic to be the best. I highly recommend that you call Rodney and Jen, the Wallner home selling team. If you are thinking about selling your home, nobody will do a better job for you than the Wallners. So if this is something you're thinking about at your family, in your family, call the Wallners now. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Tim Jones here for Johnny's Hideout in beautiful High Ridge, the go-to St. Louis sports bar and grill experience featuring over 40 big screen TVs, fantastic food featuring daily specials, and of course the famous Johnny Dow's chicken wings, live local music, and now the reopening of the gorgeous Sunset Patio, Sunset Stage, and Train Station Bar. Johnny's Hideout, located a mere 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois off Highway 30, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. More information, jhideout.com. That's jhideout.com. Johnny's Hideout. I'll see you there.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
I live by certain mottos. One, no man drinks from a straw unless he's 5 years old or drinking a milkshake. Another motto, never mix soda or water with Jack Daniels. You ruin 2 good drinks. My prime motto, I do not do projects. And once my wife asked me to hang some pictures. I said, you know my motto. She said, no, I'm asking you to hang pictures. I got the job done. I called an artist friend, offered him drinks and dinner. And when he saw the pictures, he asked, how are you going to arrange them? I told him. He said, that'd be perfect. And I said, no, not if I did them, but if you do them. So Ken Williams, producer and co-host of the Vic Perselli Show, has been building a deck on his home. A lot of folks have been watching the progress on social media, and I certainly congratulate Ken for his work. But if you're watching his social media of building the deck, and you're watching to see when I'm going to show up with hammer and nail, Ken hasn't even asked me for my help. And Ken won't be asking me for my help because he knows building a deck, yeah, you're right, is a project. And he knows my motto, I don't do projects.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta, now open in the district of Chesterfield Valley. Napoli has the only coal-fired pizza oven. That means an incredible taste you cannot get anywhere else. So enjoy a unique pizza at Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the district. And then walk a few doors down and enjoy premium cigars and drinks at Lit Cigar Lounge. There's a perfect way to end the evening. Napoli Pizza followed by Lit Cigar Lounge. A winning combination. Question, do you know what vermiculite is? It is an insulation in the attics of hundreds of thousands of homes and public buildings. Looks like kitty litter, but often contains asbestos. Wellington Environmental is the largest company in the Midwest that can remove that hazard for you. Wellington has what is called the General, a powerful industrial vacuum that can suck vermiculite out of the attic. Hang on, there's something else you should know. Many of you might qualify for up to a $4,000 rebate. You should at least contact Wellington to see if you qualify. And here's something else. Wellington arrives at the time they give you, not sometime within 4 hours. 314-644-4930, 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com, WellingtonSTL.com, Wellington Environmental, your world, cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Missouri voters, who you got in that race for governor, at least on the Republican side? State Senator Bill Eigel joins us on Wednesday to talk about the new polls that says the race is really tight.
Morning starting at 5:30 on News Talk STL.
She said, I don't know if I've ever been good enough. I'm a little bit rusty and I think my head is caving in. And I don't know if I've ever been really.
Welcome back to Colombo Katie on 101.9 News Talk STL. Another big thank you to Sheriff Dave Marshak from Jefferson County. As I mentioned, that interview has been booked for over a week, and who could have known that it would end up, we were going to talk to Sheriff on a day where Jefferson County, his community is dealing with this horrible tragedy with the death of 2 young children. So really appreciate and thank again the sheriff for taking some time out to not only join us, but also give us the latest on that situation. And Katie, you said off the air that you have, so we put out the whole show as a podcast every day after we get off the air, but you actually just pushed out that conversation with Sheriff.
So you'll be able to see that conversation right now on all of our podcasting platforms, wherever you'd like to listen, but you can also see it on our Facebook and our Twitter. I just pushed out the content because that is breaking news.
Yeah.
And then he's going to have another press conference with even more information. So I just wanted to get that out to the public before we move on from anything.
I think that's great because this is a developing story and we just got the latest from Sheriff Marshak. So it's all out there for you. And we always mention, that's the best way to make sure that you never miss anything that happens here on the show, by being subscribed to the Colombo and Katie podcast. Also, while we're talking about this stuff, don't forget about our app. I hear all the time. I just had a conversation last week with somebody who had just discovered that we have 2 signals.
Yeah.
So we, of course, have 101.9 and 94.1. 101.9 is the best for you if you were in St. Louis City or St. Louis County or the Metro East in Illinois, and 94.1 is for St. Charles County and Wentzville and Lake St. Louis and beyond to the west. And I'm talking way to the west. We went to the lake over the weekend, and I was listening to our station on the 94.1 signal loud and clear in Kingdom City.
Amazing.
So from St. Charles and beyond to the west is 94.1. So, it's easy to forget because we've been here now for almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Our 3-year anniversary is coming up in July. And so sometimes we sort of take for granted that everybody has, it's been 3 years. Everybody knows, where we're at and how to find us and all of those things. But we're still finding and being introduced to listeners on a daily basis. So not only do we have the 2 signals and the HD3, the HD signal at 99.1 HD3, but we also have our app, which is probably the best way, the most convenient way to listen to the radio station, in my opinion. Just download the app on your phone. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just download the News Talk STL app right to your phone, you can connect in the car when you're driving, and you never have to worry about if you're crossing, from one signal, from the 101.9 signal to the 94.1 signal. You don't have to switch anything. You'll always get it loud and clear right there on our app. I wanted to touch base back on part of the conversation that we just had with Sheriff Marshak about stores and businesses and people having to be the ones that change their behaviors or change their policies, all to try to combat crime, instead of the way it should be, where we just hold criminals accountable. It's always the people that are now being punished and told to do things like leave your car door unlocked, so when they come to either steal your car or try to steal what's inside your car, they don't have to break the windows anymore, and you save yourself the property damage. How about we do something about the people robbing the cars instead of telling people to leave their doors unlocked? And I mentioned that there was a headline out today about a major grocery chain up in Washington, D.C. Called Giant, that announced earlier today that they are no longer allowing people to bring bags into their stores. And I mean, like purses included. So they list suitcases. I don't know who goes grocery shopping with a suitcase, but suitcases, purses, duffel bags, or bags of any kind larger than 14 inches by 14 inches by 6 inches. I don't know how big that is.
Yeah,
but
what's
it's not
the
that
dimensions?
it's not that big of a bag. I mean, I think just kind of think of your standard size tote bag or a big purse or a backpack or something like that. Not allowed in these stores anymore, all due to the rising theft. And that actually happened to me here in St. Louis just last week. So it was crazy when I read this story today, because I was like, oh. That just happened to me.
Yes.
I stopped at a store to run in. I was actually on my way to my daughter's year-end gymnastics banquet that I was helping with some of the emceeing, and I had forgotten to grab a notebook and a pen on my way out, and rushing from work to the banquet. So I stopped at a store. It was a Dollar General store, and I ran in just to buy, a notebook and a pen to write things down at this event. And when I walked in, there was nobody up front at the register. And so I walked in, I went and got the stuff. And then when I went to check out, the cashier was there at the register and said, as soon as she saw me, and I'm going into my bag, my dad bag. It's a little Adidas bag, and I keep everything in it, and I'm going in it to get my wallet out. And the first thing that, as soon as she sees me, she says, "Hey, you can't bring that bag in here anymore." And I was going to check out. So, she
let you go.
Yeah. It was like next time she was like, just from now on, just, you have to leave that bag in the car when you come in here. And I had never experienced that before. And now it's
commonplace.
A national headline.
I just feel like that is such a easy way for criminals to target you coming out of a store. If you don't, I know that stealing a woman's bag or stealing something from a man, that might seem like, you see it all the times in movies where people just take something off your shoulder. But I feel like if you're carrying all of your stuff that you just purchased from the grocery store, let's say, and then you have to also juggle your wallet and your keys and your phone in your hands while you're carrying all this other things, a criminal can just come up, snatch it right from you, and you're so baffled and jumbled up, you're like,
yeah.
And then they're gone.
Yeah. Or how about if you're a parent? Like, my bag has
everything,
wipes in it.
Yeah.
You never know, especially if you have a
sanitizer.
little kid. Yeah. Hand sanitizer, wipes, things that you may need, especially if you have a kid in the store with you. So that's one thing. Also, how about now every criminal knows that all the cars in the parking lot has all the ladies' purses in them.
Yeah, true that. True that.
I mean, it's a buffet.
So stupid.
It had just happened to me, and then it's in the news just a couple days later. All right, real quick, this opinion piece was released today on Fox by Scott Brown from Fox News, and it says 5 crazy ways Joe Biden is ruining America's summer fun. Number 1, airlines. Anyone who has spent time at the airport these days is familiar with the headaches of domestic travel. Delays, cancellations, long lines, oversold flights, all common, and none are pleasant. Number 2, gas prices. For those adventure seekers taking to the highways, the situation is not much better. The average cost of a gallon of gas is $3.60 compared to $2.40 when Donald Trump left office. And what's ironic is that gas prices is something that Joe Biden's bragging about because it was higher during COVID.
Right.
So he's acting like he brought down gas prices, and we're still nowhere near the level that we were during the Trump presidency. Number 3, technology. Once you're in your car and looking for directions, don't get too comfortable with Google Maps. Last fall, Biden's DOJ went to court against the California-based company in a backwards lawsuit centered on Google's popular products like search. Its outcome is expected later this year and could lead to less consumer choice and higher prices. Number 4, food prices. You get hungry on a road trip, buckle up for higher prices. A Big Mac costs $7.49 on average these days, compared to $3.99 at the end of 2019, an 88% increase since 2019.
Insane.
Obviously, the minimum wage has a whole lot to do with that. At number 5, delivery. The Department of Labor is currently trying to force companies like DoorDash and Uber Eats and other delivery platforms to change their system and the way that they do things, which could pass a lot of costs
onto the
consumer. Yeah. So
great.
Thank you, Joe Biden.
That's what we need.
Thank you, Joe Biden, for ruining the summer before it even gets started. All right. We are going to be back tomorrow at 2. Katie and I will be back tomorrow. Keep it right here for the O'Reilly Report next, followed by the Tim Jones and Chris Harp Show on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The headlines remind us daily the world is a dangerous place. The elites in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better. And your gut knows that time is short to prepare for a world that is 4 missed meals away from chaos. My Patriot Supply